I'd like to begin with a thought experiment. And I'd like you to look at me and see my hair, my skin color, my shirt, my shoes. And now I'd like to ask you to close your eyes and make a judgment. Do you like this? Do you dislike it? And really form that judgment into a kind of position. This is what I mean by this. Now I'd like to ask you to close your eyes, remaining eyes closed, and drop back into emptiness. How do you feel there? Does it make you happy? Does it make you afraid? This is what I mean by that. So now, please come back, and let me say that the awareness with which you did both of those is called Atman, which means itself. So I'm here to talk to you today about this and that itself. This is me, and this is my way of showing you how much I love India. Because what I'm looking at here is the genius of India. This was in my youth. And I want to say that often we're blind to the value of our own culture. We rebel. In fact, it's a really good thing to do. We, in my generation, in the 60s and 70s, as you know, many of us came to India. We had everything. My education is solid gold. I grew up in a beautiful big house. And yet, it wasn't it. Something was missing. So we came, it's rather like Gautam. Gautam was a prince. He had everything: wine, women, song, drugs, rock and roll, who knows. But when he got in touch with something real about life, he said, this is not enough, I must go further. So in a sense, that same pattern is what we were doing when we came to India. We were on an existential treasure hunt. So understanding this treasure and how to find it is what I call the genius of India. Well, we arrived and we were shocked by the poverty. We were touched deeply by the great heart of India. And we were dazzled by many religions. Now, I had been a student of comparative religions, and so I knew that the world was kind of like India, full of religions. I soon discovered when I was here that there was a saying, an important saying: truth is one, wise men call it by different names. Religions call it by different names. But there's one truth, and that one truth is the treasure. So success in consciousness is what this treasure is. It's not success in the world. It's not more money. It's not more riches. It's not more opportunity. It's not more love. It is success within your consciousness. So I have had in this lifetime 3 different incarnations in India. The first was at Banaras Hindu University. You see Banaras there. That was a wonderful place to be. And I was very grand in that incarnation. I was senior research fellow at the Center for Advanced Study in Philosophy at Banaras Hindu University. It was a wonderful position. I got to meet Indira Gandhi, and I got to meet any holy man that I wanted to. But I was heading up a committee of 4 Indians and myself. They were all Sanskrit scholars. My background was in philosophy. Theirs was in Sanskrit and philosophy. And we created a study. We did a study of the linguistic structure of the Upanishads. What is the archaeology of the language in the Upanishads? The Upanishads have a basic sort of pattern. One is the question, what are we in? And the second is the question, what should we do? So this is a little diagram that I have made of what I consider to be the essence of what is in the Upanishads. First, you have the outer square, and the outer square, you'll see, is the same as the inner square. That's very important. So the outer square is that. And this isn't the larger universe, it's the larger consciousness. So that is called in the Upanishads by many names, and by many names in different religions. It is Brahman, that is the name most found, and that means the Almighty. Then you have the inner circle, which is this, and this is form, definition. It's what I asked you to do right at the beginning about me. We live in these definitions and judgments, and all together they're a kind of symphony which goes through the many lives that we may incarnate in. And that is called samsara. And another beautiful word for this is maya, because maya means fullness, richness, but it also means illusion. Then we have the inner square, which is Atman. That means your inborn awareness. That's the awareness with which you did that exercise at the beginning. And this awareness is called, the Sanskrit word is Atman, but it's a very beautiful word because it means itself. So the itself of this and that is your own innate awareness. And the true gravity of our being is that Atman, your innate awareness, is drawn to become that. This is the true gravity, and the command that goes with it is know that. And as you come to know that, you enter into a state of the rectitude of being. You are right with the basic core of being. You are radical. Knowing that has a kind of process. First of all, it is not knowledge, but it's a state of being. It's a treasure, and that treasure is what I feel is the Indian genius to understand that treasure in a really unique way in the world, even though it's true of all of us. So every religion is a treasure map that leads to this treasure, this alignment, this rectitude, this radical way of being. So there are benefits that go with this, and the benefits increase as innate awareness becomes that. You have a knowledge of it. Now you have that now because I showed you that diagram. That's knowledge of this and that itself. Then comes, you begin to recognize that as the truth. And as you move from that, you begin to feel more and more joy in your being because you understand that you share that with everyone and every being, sensate being in the universe. This creates a tremendous joy. Then you enter into this state of natural rectitude, which is not morality. It's beyond morality. It comes out of that alignment, that natural rectitude. As you go deeper into this, it becomes blissful. And soon you find that you're living in splendor. And that splendor is the true treasure. But what about not knowing that? Those who do not know that are in darkness. Know-it-alls are in greater darkness still. That is the Upanishad of the pervasion, of the pervading of that. So let me just go over this a little bit. Ignorance means, in this sense, it means that you have a negative response to that. If you do not know that, you have a negative response to it. You're in anxiety. And that anxiety is in a totality called angst. Angst is a word that was very important for the existentialists of my generation. This angst, the only way you can fill this angst of this emptiness is with compulsion. You're compelled. You seek wealth. You seek more money. You seek more power. You seek more sex. Whatever your compulsion is, it becomes addiction. All of this is a flight from that. And all the demons of the great tradition of India really relate to the power of that addiction. So the worst according to this sloka, the worst addiction is the addiction to knowledge. And these are the people who are know-it-alls. The know-it-alls are in greater darkness still. They may, this or that is turned into some sort of universal entity. But that's just a bigger this. That is actually nothing but fullness. So when I was at Benares, I was astonished to find, as I was discovering this incredible treasure in the Upanishads, that all of the Indian philosophers were rushing off to justify their thought forms in terms of British philosophy. I knew that this was impossible because British philosophy doesn't have the conceptual structure to comprehend what is there in the Upanishads. And then when I went out of the university, everyone was trying to buy my genes. And I first then became in touch with this phenomenon that I call the velocity towards the West. Then I had a second incarnation. This is, you may recognize him, he's the bad boy of gurus. His name is Rajneesh, the name of the full moon, and he's known as Bhagwan, but now he's known as Osho. Osho was really, really a bad boy. He ridiculed Indian traditions. He told dirty jokes. He clarified the true treasure. He was a master of all maps. And this was absolutely thrilling to me to find one person who really comprehended all the maps. In fact, what happens when you get to that state of splendor is you do understand every religion. And he was the master of that. Now, he said something that reflects what I've said before. He said, I can only be the teacher of the rich. Why? Because only the rich really know that this is not it, and are really desiring to know that. So he gave me the name Vireshwar, Swami Anand Vireshwar, which means the bliss of the Lord of the heroes. That became a whole path for me. That became my sadhana, to become the master or to understand what a hero is. And it really became my life work. I created an organization called Origins, which helps everybody to find that inner hero. So this is now my last incarnation, and that is, I found a shrine to Vireshwar in Gujarat, and I went and I became friends with a Mahant. He lived on chai and charas. That was quite something. And he took me with a small group of other people from the shrine to the Kumbh Mela in 1998. And that was one of the most extraordinary experiences of my life. And he renamed me Vireshwar Das, which means serving heroes, the one who serves the heroes. And that became really what my essential life is about. So if you have a Sanskrit name, it probably is the key to your personal way to that. So you use that name, or you use whatever clue or your own deepest inclination as a guide. And you use that ancient truth to create a future world. So we are in some ways ships passing in the night. The seekers from the West are coming to India, and the Indians are going west to try to attain our lifestyle. I want to say to you that the glamour of the West is not the real treasure. Don't miss what you have here. Follow your way to the treasure, and then find the way to rectify this world. Know that in order to save this. All that matters.